Hey guys, this is Cawthon-Green coming back to you again today. I got a lot to say this week. So I'm gonna drop this quick word about living full. So, a lot of us live beneath the fullness of what God truly has for us. And so last night I have a 10-year-old daughter. And so last night she woke up in the middle of the night and she was like, "Mommy, I'm sad." And I was like, "Well, why are you sad?" And she was like, "I don't know." And so I kind of sat with that for a minute and I was like, I was waiting for God to show me something to give to her, to say to her. And I remembered that right before we went to bed, she was watching all of these videos of when she was younger, like 4 or 5 years old. And if you've listened to my story, you know that there's been a whole lot of transition in my life, which means there's been a whole lot of transition in her life recently. And so I realized that she was trying to go back to the moments when she was 4 or 5 years old, when she last felt joy in the way that she knows joy to be. And I had to say to her, so, I've been teaching her how to pray, and there's all these things that she's been telling God that she wants him to do in her life. And she's been telling me, "Mommy, God is taking too long," or "What's taking so long? How come he hasn't done it yet?" And I tell her all the time, just like I tell you guys all the time, the only delay for God doing something is us. We're the only reason that anything that God has for us is ever delayed. It's because he's trying to prepare us to receive it. And so I was telling her, I said, "You've been watching these videos of you when you were younger, and you were telling me, oh, you wish things could be like that again." And I had to tell her, I said, the reason that God can't take us into the new thing is because you're still holding on to the old thing. So you're looking to find joy in what you had before, but the season for that is over. The way that you found joy in the last season is not the way that you find it in this season. That time is done. The way that you found happiness, the way that you lived in the fullness of life in an old season, you can't do it in the now. You can't bring that into the now. You can't bring the past into the now, because it hinders you from seeing the joyful moments. Just because everything doesn't look the way that you want it to look right now doesn't mean that you can't find the joy in right now. Hey, Jeffrey. Doesn't mean that you can't find the joy in the moments right now, because here's the thing. If you're always looking to what you used to know of joy, or what you used to know of happiness, or what you used to know of the fullness of life, you miss the moments where you have it right now. Maybe it doesn't look like what it used to look like, but because you're looking for what it used to look like, you're missing what it looks like right now. And if you're missing what it looks like right now because because you're trying to find what it used to look like, you're not going to be able to go forward into what God wants for it to be. Oh, Glenn. Oh, hi, Glenn. Sorry. So anyway, so it's difficult for us to go forward when we're looking for God to do something new in our lives. See, because life is full of ever-changing circumstances. So if you're constantly focusing on what God took you out of, or what you lost, or what was removed from your life, you will never, ever be able to embrace where he's taking you, or even where he has you now. You're going to miss the moments of joy in the now because you're constantly looking for what they used to look like before. When God is trying to present you with because life is ever changing, you're going to have to be able to ever change and adapt with the circumstance and the situation of what your joy looks like right now. Every time you keep looking at the past, you can't go into your future. It's just like when you turn your head behind you, your feet can't go forward. Your feet are going to go in whatever direction that your head is turned. Whatever direction your eyes are looking at, that's where your feet are going to go. So you're asking yourself why you can't move forward. You're asking yourself why you can't get something greater, why you can't get to the better, why you can't get to the thing that you've been praying for. It's because you keep turning to the past and you're looking for the version of joy that you found in the past. But the version of joy that you found in the past is dead because God is trying to move you forward. So think about this, right? You got to learn to live in the now in order to embrace your next. So you want to live more full. You want God to do a great work in your life. But you're still looking for it in the way that you received it before. But God is trying to do a new thing. His word says, see, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. The new thing springs forth in the now. Let's look at the children of Israel, for instance. They're in slavery. God brings them out of slavery. So they were all complaining that they were slaves. Why would God keep us in this? Why would God put us in this place? Right? Then he brings them out. But he doesn't bring them out directly into the promise. He brings them out into the wilderness. Here's the crazy thing about it. They complained in the wilderness and asked to go back into slavery. But what's funny about that is they were looking back to where they were before, the way that they were living before, and they couldn't even embrace what was happening in the moment. God performed miracles in that wilderness. They witnessed miracles of God in the wilderness. They witnessed manna falling from heaven. They witnessed water coming from the rock. They witnessed the cloud. They witnessed the Red Sea. All of these things, they witnessed miracles. And because they were still looking for what they had in the past, they couldn't find the joy of the moment of what God was doing right there in the now, because they was too busy complaining and looking for what was familiar to them. So they could not embrace the move of God. Here it is. They're getting to see something that most people never got to see. Miracles. In the midst of miracles. And they're complaining, talking about take us back to slavery. See, God cannot take you into a new thing without a new mindset. He could give you everything you ever wanted in life, and if your mindset hasn't changed to embrace joy and life in the moment of whatever circumstance that you're in, it don't matter what he gives you, because you're always going to be looking for what you had before. You're always going to be looking for what was familiar. You're always going to be looking for something of the past. You can't adapt to the future if you can't let go of the past. So some of you are asking God for something new. You're praying for God to deliver you from something. You're praying for God to move you forward. But if you can't find the joy right here, right now, in this very moment, you're not going to be able to receive anything that God has for you. As long as you're constantly trying to go back and get the life that you lost. Get the thing that you lost. Get the relationship that you lost. Get the job that you lost. Get the money that you lost. Get the house that you lost. You will always feel like you're losing something. And you won't be able to recognize what you're gaining. You see, you won't ever be able to see what you've gained from the loss as long as you're dwelling on what's no longer in front of you anymore. So you can't live full until you change your perspective. You can't live full until you can find the joy in the moment of where you are. Despite the fact that you've lost something. Yep, you lost some stuff. Cool. Yep, it hurt. Yep, you were disappointed. Yep, you want to go back and get it back because you remember the old moments of joy that you had from the things that you lost. But guess what? Their season is over. God, and here's the thing, God never takes us into anything less than what we had before. He always gives us more than what we had before. But because we can't understand that before he gives us the more, he has to make sure that we've let go of what we had before, we get in our feelings. Then we be like, God, how come, just take me back to where I was. Because we don't want to endure the wilderness season that will allow us to let go of the old mindset, of the old perception of what joy was before, to receive the new joy. Because you can't receive something new until you let go of the old thing. Period. You can't receive something new until you've let go of, until you've released, until you've healed from the old thing. And you cannot do that as long as you're still trying to hold on to and or go back to that old thing. That old thing season is over. There's a time and a season for everything. Yep, you may have found joy in that old relationship. You may have found joy in that old friendship. You may have found joy in that old job. You may have found joy in that old home. You may have found joy in that old thing. But the old thing season is over. Now it's time for you to find joy in the now. There's a reason that his word says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. Not yesterday faith. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now, you want to live full? Live in the now. See God's hand moving in the now. Stop worrying about what you lost yesterday, last week, last year, last month. Stop worrying about that. God called it away from you so that he could take you into more. And yep, you might be missing it. You might be disappointed from it. You might be hurt from it. And that's okay. Give the disappointment its moment. Give the sadness its moment. Give the hurt its moment. And then move forward so that you can embrace what God has for your future. Because until you let go of the thing you tried to find joy in the past, you will never be able to find that joy again. Because the past thing ain't going to bring you that joy. It's dead. Its season is done. You might have had some, just like you got flowers for Valentine's Day, but then once them things died, and you got so much joy from receiving those flowers. But then once they were dead, they were dead. You can't bring them back. But God is trying to give you a whole entire garden, and you're still looking at this dead vase of flowers going, dang. God, why did you let this moment of joy die? But he's trying to take you into not just a moment of joy, but something that will consistently produce joy for you. Because sometimes we root ourselves in our joy and our happiness in things that are fleeting. But the things of God are not fleeting. They are everlasting. So, in order to live full, you got to let go of what you had before that you found joy in. Allow God to take you through the process of releasing that so that you can receive the double of restoration from what you lost. That's the word. Love you guys. Have a blessed evening. Bye.